Good evening and welcome out to tonight's onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank with Tackle Trading. I'll be taking you through the website this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know where things are, when they are, giving you a little bit more detail of what it is that we're doing here on the back end at Tackle Trading. Before we dive on into that, a couple of things I always like to highlight when I kick anything off, because if I highlight them early, I don't forget them late. So number one is next Monday night, we will have a special webinar on swing trading options right here on this YouTube channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can, hit the, set alert on YouTube. They've got that function nowadays. That will be next Monday night, swing trading options, talking about calls, puts. Going to be a good time with Coach Tyler. Hope to see you over there. I also like to, point out a couple of different podcasts you'll find here at Tackle Trading. Number one is The Huddle. You'll find the link up here at the top. Each Friday or at the end of the market week, so typically Fridays, the Huddle podcast will come out. It's just a short podcast, really just highlighting the top 10 stories of the trading week to make sure, if you, maybe fell behind on the news cycle or what have you, you can catch up in a quick and unbiased manner. You'll also find the Trading Justice podcast over at tradingjustice.com or at your favorite podcast provider. Each week, Coach Matt, Coach Tim, and Coach Mark put together the Trading Justice podcast. Very fun listen, very informative. A lot of good stuff going on over at the TJ podcast. Definitely worth incorporating into your weekly routine. Our friends over at Trading Justice also put together a really nice monthly newsletter that's just jam-packed with all sorts of goodies. So I would definitely check that out. You can find them at tradingjustice.com. Right now, I am just in the Trade Center here at Tackle Trading, and this link will take you to tradingjustice.com as well. So hopefully a couple of additional things that can make your life as a trader a little bit better. Let's kind of dive on into it now. Really, to me, Tackle Trading, what we really are is just a community of people that like to trade. We've come together so we can share ideas, experiences, knowledge, be there for each other. While nobody can ever trade for anybody else, we can certainly, show what's working, what's not, right? Share our ideas, answer questions, ask questions. And it's really nice, in my mind at least, to be able to have a place where I can, easily go, whether it's in one of our shows, in the Discord, whatever it might be, to easily go find some traders to bounce some things around with. And I really think, to me, that's what Tackle Trading really truly is. It's really a community of traders that have come together to help each other out, have each other's back, support each other, share ideas. It's a really awesome thing to be a part of. As we're going to explain it tonight, I'm going to break it down into three parts. So hopefully you can get a better idea of kind of what that looks like. Number one will be the things that you can do on your own. That's going to be things like courses, some of the tools that you'll find in our trade center, our weekly blogs, our playbook. So things that you can kind of do at your own pace, if you will. Then things that you can do with others, every single market day in a couple of different ways. We're going to be hanging out with our communities. We'll kind of talk about the schedule and what we're doing in these different shows. And then lastly, our weekend report, where we present some ideas and some look ahead to the upcoming week in the market. So we'll kind of break it down into those three parts as we're trying to explain it here tonight. So let's dive right into that first area, that the things that you can do on your own. There are going to be several courses available to all of our pro members here at Tackle Trading. The 7-step guide to trading it's kind of an introduction to the tackle trading approach. I don't think you're ever going to find two traders that are exactly the same. And I think that's perfectly fine and reasonable. But I do think you'll find that we kind of have a shared philosophy here at Tackle Trading, from starting at the top of the markets, taking that top-down approach, indexes, into sectors, into industries, into individual components, commodities, etc. How do we choose our strategies? We're big watch list traders, so how do we build and maintain and manage and adjust those watch lists? Of course, planning, placing, managing the trade, journaling the trade. So in a lot of ways, it'll kind of introduce you to, I guess, the tackle trading approach to the market, if you will. It will also hopefully give you some ideas to, either get a new routine started if you're a newer trader and struggling kind of getting a routine up and going. If you're an existing, if you've got some experience, you probably have a routine that you're pretty comfortable with, but maybe you can get a couple of ideas to help enhance that already existing routine as well. That is a pretty short course, about 2 hours in total. Of course, as traders, charts and technical analysis is going to be a backbone for us, right? Everything we're doing, whether we're day traders, swing traders, cash flow traders, crypto traders, forex traders, whatever we're trading, technical analysis is going to help us and when we're getting in, where we're placing our stop loss, right? Where we're setting our targets. So in the technical analysis 101, no surprise, we'll be talking about those things: charts, and more charts, right? Support, resistance, trend, momentum, pattern, candlesticks, all of that good stuff. Definitely worth checking out. If you're a new trader, I mean, that's the first skill you want to kind of get a foundation on, in my opinion. But none of us are really ever done with technical analysis. I've yet to meet the person who's 100% when it comes to charting. I think we can all strive to be. I don't know that any of us ever will be, and I think that's okay. But there's always something more that we can learn when it comes to the chart side of things. Over in our options course, we're really going to talk a lot about what's going on kind of when you buy or sell that call option or that put option, right? What are the factors that are influencing that option's pricing? Right? Options aren't quite as straightforward as a stock, right? If I buy a stock for $20, it doesn't matter if it's a minute later, an hour later, a day later, a week later. If I sell it for more than $20, say 21, I made $1, right? Very straightforward in that regard. There's a lot of moving parts on options that are going to influence the pricing of those contracts that we don't have to deal with in the equity market. And that's fine. We just need to understand what they are. Right. And so I'm a big believer that if we truly understand why the contracts are doing the things they're doing, why they're moving the way they're moving, whatever strategy it is that we're employing is going to make a lot more sense. So if you're a newer option trader, or quite honestly, even an intermediate option trader, I think there's a lot to learn over in that Options 101 course as well. If you've ever been interested in learning more about the futures or the Forex market, but not really known exactly where to start, these introduction courses can be a great place to start. Give you an idea of what's going on in those markets. What does that leverage look like? What are the things that are going to be similar to, the more traditional stock market? What are going to be the things that we need to pay a little closer attention to that maybe we don't in the regular equity market? These are both really great places to start. Not everybody wants to trade futures and or Forex, and that's fine. We can trade whatever we want, but I never want someone to feel like they can't trade Forex because they're not ready for it, or things like that. So if you've ever had interest in either or both of those markets, can be a really great place to start. Regardless of what you're trading and what your time frame is, it's, I think everyone agrees that it's important to have clearly defined rules and systems in place. It's one thing to say it and to think it. It's another thing to do it, though, right? And our systems development course, I really can't say enough good things about this course. No matter what kind of a trader you are, I think you will get a tremendous amount of value out of the system development course. It will really help train you, if you will, to take that approach to your trading. It's really a great course, and I would highly recommend anybody, new trader, veteran, only trading Forex, trading a little bit of everything, whatever it is. I think everybody can get great value out of that system development course, can really up your game as you kind of take that systematic approach and really get comfortable with what that looks like from a trading point of view. You will notice there are also a handful of premium products here. These are premium systems. It's a complete system. They are kind of standalone, one-time purchases. The system is yours for life. Just to give you a little more information on what they are, the Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a group of stocks we put together each year with the intent of cash flowing via covered calls. Step system is our swing approach to the market. Cash flow Condors, another cash flowing system, this time on the Russell 2000. Bear market survival guide, kind of protecting our portfolio from bearish turns in the market and then dealing with those bearish turns once we get them. If you would like more information on any of these systems, you can find it over in the store tab. You can also, you're more than welcome to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. We'd be happy to get you that information. These are standalone systems. Each month, we're going to get together with members of each of these teams in a mastermind group. We certainly invite all of our pro members to join us in the mastermind group. So whether or not you have picked up the Tackle 25, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the schedule, but you are certainly going to be welcome to join us in the mastermind groups. So that will be those premium systems that you're seeing there. Not everything that has to be an hour-long webinar or a 2 to 4 hour course or something like that. We're going to do regular blog content, both in written and in video form. It's a great way to be able to share ideas, answer questions that our team is having, share kind of what's working for us, whether it's more jargon, tales of technician, kind of taking concepts from the ground up with Coach Greg over in the rookie corner, options and the options theory, hearing from our awesome female traders in the Women in Trading blog. So these are just going to be nice little, probably relatively short additions to your week, 5-minute reads, 14-minute videos, stuff like that, but can really be a nice additional way for us as coaches to be able to address things that maybe our communities, having questions about, or, share or build on concepts that we've been discussing in our other content. So certainly keep a lookout for those blogs. They are going to be fairly regularly, can be a really good addition to a weekly routine. Over in the Trade Center, you'll find a link to our clubhouse. That's kind of our own little, Facebooky type of place where members of the team can bounce ideas around. We are doing, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but a lot of those old conversations that happened in our clubhouse are now happening over on our Tackle Trading Discord channel. Our Discord channel is reserved for pro members, and I'll show you that before I let you get out of here tonight. But our clubhouse is still going, and we certainly welcome you to join us over there. It can just be another way to connect with the team and bounce ideas around, ask questions, things like that. Our trading glossary, a link to our trading journals, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a few as well, and a link to the Tackle Trading Playbook. Over in the Tackle Trading Playbook is where you're going to find all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. We break our playbook down into 3 components based off of the option Greeks, Delta, Theta, and Vega. So our Delta is our directional playbook, right? D for direction, if you will. I think the stock's going from 50 to 55, from 80 to 75, from point A to point B, right? So of course, that's going to include buying or selling stock. That's also going to be, buying call options, buying put options, doing debit spreads, doing diagonal spreads, basically movement-based strategies. Then you're going to have the Theta, or the cash flowing playbook, right? This is where we're selling those options and taking advantage of the one guarantee, and that is, of course, time passing, right? So that's, selling covered calls against shares that we own, selling naked puts, selling credit spreads, selling iron condors, basically bringing in that premium up front. And then lastly, the Vega, or the volatility playbook, where we're playing on the expected volatility of the stock or the product that we're trading. We're coming, towards the tail end of an earnings season now, right? We saw some pretty wild moves, as you always do during earnings season. So if we wanted to build a trade on company XYZ, based off of its history, we felt there was a pretty good chance it was going to move a lot one way or the other. There's just no way that we could ever know for sure which way it was going to move. We might want to build a trade that, hey, as long as it moves a lot, either way, we're in good shape, right? Or maybe we want to take the other side of that trade. So those are going to be volatility-based trades. In all of these, there will be a detailed video kind of taking you through, what the strategy is, why we would choose the strategy, our rules for the strategy, setting it up, risk reward profile, all of that good stuff. You'll also find a little downloadable PDF. So you have just a quick cheat sheet for those rules as you're getting comfortable with them. You'll also notice that on all of these, there's something from a 0 to a plus or a -3. And it's just kind of along the spectrum of neutral to aggressive, right? So, 0 would be flat neutral, plus or -1 would be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. 2 or -2 would be bullish or bearish, or moderately bullish or bearish, and then 3 or -3 would be very bullish or very bearish. It sounds silly when I say it out loud, but it doesn't make it true. We always want to make sure that we match the strategy to the situation, right? If I think the stock's going to have a quick burst on, say, a bullish breakout of a 4-month consolidation period, my expectations, right or wrong, are that it's going to create a decent little pop in that scenario, right? So I want to match a strategy that kind of lines up with that. I probably don't want to do a super conservative strategy, because my read is I expect a quick pop in that scenario. This is an easy example. And so this is just kind of letting you know kind of where we see these different strategies along those lines. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. Over in the Trade Center itself, if you just click on the Trade Center, it'll kind of bring you to a What's Up page at Tackle Trading, our next show, most recent posts, some tools we'll talk a little bit about, our link to Trading Justice, recent tweet, a little watch list that you can build for yourself, just directly into Tackle Trading if you want to do that. Say you wanted to add marathon to your watch list. I'm just going to, throw the symbol that I'm looking for. I'm just going to click it, hit that plus button, and now marathon will be in here. If I decide I don't need Pepsi anymore and we've had our fun, I'm just going to select them here, hit that little minus button, and that will get rid of them. Not everyone's going to use this, but it is kind of nice to just have an easy, accessible, just go to the web page and look at all the charts in my watch list without having to log into my brokerage account, where a lot of people, of course, are doing, most of their charting as well. There will be a little mini calendar of the what's coming up in the near future on tackle trading. There will be a showing of one of our YouTube shows. That'll typically be the halftime report, but it can be this show. It can be our Trade Masters webinar as well. If you're taking any courses, it'll let you know exactly where you left off, so you can pick right back up without having to waste any time trying to, fast forward, rewind. Where exactly did I leave? Just to help you keep a little bit more organized. Over in the market skyline, this is just where you're going to kind of have all of the big stuff in one place from a charting point of view. This is a big part of, the top-down analysis, right? Going through the indexes, going through the major commodities, going through the sectors each and every day. We just wanted to have them all in one location. And whether or not you're doing it on this page is really kind of up to you. But I would definitely encourage you to get comfortable with that if you're not doing so already. I think it can absolutely make you a better trader and have, better idea of where the opportunities may be. So you can have the major indexes, these are the future contracts, of course, S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, RUD, Bitcoin, the VIX, the emerging markets, the all world ETF, the major commodities, gold, silver, copper, crude, natty gas, the sector spider ETFs. So we can say, hey, what stood out today from, once again, energy, the big standout today, right? That's been pretty much the case for quite some time, right? So just really a healthy part of a daily routine of staying on top of the market, at least in my personal opinion. You'll also find a link to the FinViz heat maps here. This will just bring you, of course, to finviz.com, to the heat map for the S&P 500 for the day. Just another way to generate ideas, little different visual of what did the market look like today, what stood out, whether it was from a bullish point of view or a bearish point of view. Just another way to generate some ideas. You can customize it a little bit. The default is on a one-day performance, but you can look at weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly performance, certain fundamental ratios. So there's a little bit of customization that you can do in there. Just another way to generate some potential ideas, see if any area stood out, right? I always like to look at that on days where the market was, up big or down big, to see if there was a particular industry that was really kind of bucking the trend, right? I always think that's an interesting time to, I think that can lead to some interesting opportunities. So that's the market skyline. You'll find a little news aggregator in here. This is just going to go through some of the bigger financial news sites, Market Watch, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, the Times, and just kind of get the headlines put in kind of a straight, easy to process, at least in my mind, way. So I can easily kind of scroll through, see if something's interesting to me. If it's not, I mean, when it comes to browsing anything, right, we want to read the things that are interesting to us, and the things that aren't, we don't. So just an easy way to kind of work through some of the headlines, hit the things that are interesting to you without having to bounce around through several different sites, without having to, click through a bunch of different articles to get where you're going. So just a nice little addition, I think, to a daily routine. You'll find a link to the economic calendar, so you can make sure you're aware of any, economic reports that are coming out today or this upcoming week that could impact your trading one way or another. A link to our market reports, which you'll also find up here, and we'll talk about here shortly. A link to our trade journals. If you come into the trade journals this way, as you noticed probably on the drop down, you can find them as well of the Trade Center. I've always preferred to come into them directly through the Trade Center, simply because it takes you directly to the tutorial page if you need it. So these are spreadsheets. They're really helpful tools. If you're like me, I'm not a natural spreadsheet guy. I'm a Word guy, and I always have been. Spreadsheet people, they take to it really quickly and easily. But folks, like me, and I know I'm not alone, that aren't particularly comfortable, 100% at least with spreadsheets, can be helpful to get a little bit of a tutorial. So you can find that in here. If you do come into it this way, you can download them here as well. We do have 3 different journals. We have the Trade Journal, probably kind of what you're thinking about when you hear Trade Journal. We just, hey, we'll let it know what we did, when we did it, how much it was, and how many, shares or contracts we traded. And then it's going to do the rest for us. It's going to, let us know our profit loss, how long we're in the trade, how long we're on average in trades, right? A lot of good information. And if you're journaling your trades, every trade you make becomes data that you can use to adjust based off of what you personally are seeing in your trading, right? It's such a powerful tool to be able to do that, right? If I'm always, if I look at 20 breakout trades that I've made, some will have won, some will have lost, but I can kind of see, hey, what did the winners have in common? What did the losers have in common? What would happen if I would have changed my stop loss, give it a little more wiggle room? Or what if I was a little quicker to take profits at target one? I can do those things if I have the information, and I can actually make really good decisions to just tweak what I'm doing just a little bit based off of what I'm experiencing to hopefully turn maybe one or two of those losers into maybe a winner, right? Maybe one less loser, maybe one more winner. That can be a big deal. Theta research tool is where we can build and fairly compare our different cash flow trades, right? We might have, 10, covered call candidates that we're looking at, but we only want to trade 2 of them. Well, how do we choose? Right. Well, we want to be able to compare them against one another fairly. I think at least Theta research tool will allow us to do just that. And then, of course, the portfolio journal to help us kind of stay on top and organize of where we are in everything. So if you do come into the trade journals via the Trade Center, like we just did, just select the journal that you want. The download will be in here. You can also, again, catch them on that drop down as well. You're going to find a link to the compounding gains calculator just to help illustrate the compounding power of money, a link to a chart if you ever need one, another link to our glossary and search function. Again, the glossary you can find on the drop down, the search function, this little magnifying glass, and it is pretty smart. The search function is pretty smart. So if you're ever looking for more information on a particular subject, right, whether it's covered calls or moving averages or whatever, never hesitate to ask us, of course. But a lot of times you can find a lot of good discussion, blogs, shows that we dedicated specifically to that, and everything in between, just by doing a quick search. It is pretty smart in helping find stuff on subjects that are interesting to you. So that is going to be the Trade Center. That's going to kind of wrap up kind of that first bubble and the things that you can kind of do on your own, whether it's, for a weekly routine, whether it's from a studying point of view, a little bit of both. Hopefully that explains that a little bit all right for you. Now let's talk a little bit about things that you can do with others, AKA the schedule, right? Every single market day, we're going to be here with our team in a variety of ways. Let's start with where we start. Every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we do our Traders Lounge for an hour. We get together live with the team. One of our coaches is always going to be in there, and it's basically a place where our community can ask whatever they need to ask, right? If you need us to show you how to put a stop loss on a Thinkorswim, because we're going to be using Thinkorswim in there. If you need us to show you how to put a stop loss on your option trade, we can do that. If you're struggling with a strategy and it would be helpful to kind of walk through from beginning to end on that strategy, we can do that. Maybe you just got a great trade setup or trade idea you want to bounce around with other traders. Maybe you've got a trade going and you kind of want to discuss some potential management techniques. Maybe you're struggling with your daily routine or your asset allocation, portfolio design. I mean, we can talk about anything in there. It's really, kind of everything goes. It's really designed so we can, address whatever issues or questions our community may be having. You're always welcome in there. No question is too advanced. No question is too basic. Everybody here is on the same side. So never hesitate to get into that Traders Lounge each market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Shortly after the Traders Lounge, which we're not going to record the Traders Lounge. It's going to be the one show that we don't record because, quite bluntly, no one's going to go watch one from 6 months ago, right? But we will record snippets of trading lounges and get them posted in here from time to time for additional content. Or maybe you can't make it because you're at work at 11 Eastern, but you have a question, let us know. We can cut that for you, get that posted so we can get you an answer. Not a big deal on that side of things. Shortly after the lounge at 12:30 Eastern, we're going to head over here to our YouTube channel where we're going to do the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, a live look in at the market, where we're going through that top-down approach, staying on top of the market, right? So what's going on in the market today? How is it impacting our indexes? our S&P, our Dow, our NASDAQ, our Russell, how the different sectors look, stocks that are in the news, stocks that are standing out, commodities, the whole 9 yards, as we're kind of staying on top of the big giant story that I think at least really is the market. That's live here on our YouTube channel, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, every market day. Of course, being on YouTube, once the stream is over, it will just go directly over to our channel page if you want to catch it a little bit later. So every single day, whether it's the lounge here at Tackle Trading at 11 or the halftime report on our YouTube channel at 12:30, we'll be working the markets with the team as the markets are up and running. And then we're going to kind of have our evening slate of schedule. On Monday nights, oftentimes, we're going to reserve them for a lot of little different things. Like next week, for example, we're doing our swing trading webinar right here on our YouTube channel, right? A lot of times we're going to be meeting up with members of these different teams, the Tackle 25, the Cash Flow Condors, the Step System, the Bear Market, in their mastermind group. So Mondays are going to change up a little bit from time to time, but and then I'll show you the events calendar before we're done here. We'll make sure that we keep them highlighted for you. I'm also doing this webinar on Monday night. If you're, ever kind of feeling a little lost or overwhelmed at tackle trading and feel it'd be helpful to go back through it. No two are tremendously different from one another. So it's probably not, tune in over and over again. I mean, you're welcome to, but don't feel obligated to by any stretch of the imagination. Tuesday nights is where we do our coaches show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Our coaches show is a lot of fun because it allows us to tackle one of the many subjects in the market and have, deep in-depth conversations on that. Right. And so Tuesday nights live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, it will be recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live, or if you need to rewatch it, or if you want to watch a previous episode on a subject that you find interesting, very easy to find there in the archives. But there's so many things to talk about in trading, right? Whether it's, trading a particular pattern, trading bull flags, trading, high bases, whether it's particular strategy, when to trade long calls versus bull puts, right? Portfolio design, indicators. I mean, a million things that we can talk about. And sometimes it's really helpful to have an in-depth conversation on those type of things, right? And that's exactly what the Coaches Show allows us to do. That's live Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But again, recorded and archived for your convenience. We love to have you live, but we understand, schedules are schedules for all of us, like it or not. Personally, I would consider the Coaches Show the flagship show of tackle trading. Then on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern as well, we're going to do our Cash Flow Club. Very similar to the Coaches Show. It's going to be live at 8:30 Eastern. This time on Thursdays, it'll be recorded and archived. It's going to have a little more of a narrow focus, as the name probably gives away. We're really going to be focusing on building and managing those cash flow type of trades and systems, right? So building and managing covered calls, building and managing naked puts, credit spreads, condors, etc. I think, a lot of us here at Tackle Trading incorporate at least some degree of cash flow trading into our overall trading plan. Could be a great place to get a little more comfortable if you're new to those type of strategies. Certainly a great addition, and one of the greatest things about options is we get to sell them. It gives us a whole new way to trade. If you are already employing cash flow strategies, maybe can give you some additional ideas. That is Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesday night, we do a twofer here at Tackle Trading at 7 Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel. We do our Trade Masters webinar. A couple of the coaches will get together with some trade ideas, bounce them around off of one another and with members of our community. After each round, our team will vote in the chat whose trade idea they liked better. And at the end of it, someone is declared the winner, right? It's a lot of fun. And it's really about, on Wednesday night, I mean, we might need to have a few new watch list candidates, right? Not every single week, probably, but sometimes, I mean, we need some new trade ideas. There's never a bad way to get a trade idea as far as I'm concerned. That's the kind of thing that we're doing in our Trade Masters webinars on Wednesday night, right here on our YouTube channel, again, at 7 p.m. Eastern. Shortly after that webinar is over at 8:30 Eastern, we're going to head back over here to Tackle Trading for our Wednesday night Traders Lounge. It's going to be similar in large part to our morning trading lounges, where members of our team can just come in, bounce ideas around, ask questions, get some help, all of that fun stuff. But it's going to be a little bit different in the sense that we're just coming out of our Trade Masters webinar. And if anybody, wants to take a deeper dive or kind of map some things out with us in that webinar, we're certainly very open to doing that as well. So that's our Wednesday night Traders Lounge shortly after the Trade Masters webinar at 8:30 p.m. Eastern here at Tackle Trading. And while I was kind of yammering there, I just went into the events calendar. This can be an easy way to, see what's going on today, get the link to it, all of that fun stuff as you're kind of getting organized and getting a little more comfortable with us. We do offer a premium product that we refer to as trading labs. Coach Mark, Coach Emily, and Coach Tyler each have their own trading lab with more to come in the not too distant future. These are, again, standalone products. They're subscription products where we're a little bit kind of closer working directly with that coach and their style of trading. If you'd like a little bit more information, or if you'd like to take a free trial and see what those trading labs are all about, you can find information over in that store tab, or as always, you can email us at team@tackletrading.com and we can help you out on that side of things. So that's certainly something we're going to be doing. As I mentioned earlier, in our premium systems, our Tackle 25 and our step system, our Condors and bear market survival guide, each month we're going to get together with members of each of those teams in a mastermind group. We do invite all of our pro members to join in on those conversations. Typically, as I said earlier, they're going to be happening on Monday nights. Not necessarily all the time, but typically that's when they're going to happen. So you are more than welcome as a pro member to join us, whether or not you've picked up the Tackle 25 or not. Can be a great way to kind of get an idea of what kind of things we're doing with those different systems. We have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading. They get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. I obviously can't speak to exactly what happens there. I am not a woman in trading, so I don't get to go. But I have no doubt, I know the team. I've known some of these awesome ladies for years and years now. I have no doubt that they're getting some good work done in there. They're probably having a good time doing it. If you are a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, I would definitely be on the lookout for the next Women in Trading Mastermind group. I think it will be an awesome experience for you. Fellas, sorry, you'll have to find something else to do that day. That does tend to be towards the end of the month, and it does tend to be on Friday nights. Looks like we've got one on the 18th coming up here. So that'll be a Thursday night. We'll always make sure that we, kind of highlight it and promote it, make sure that you are aware of when that is coming up. But yeah, if you're a woman in trading, I think you'll love the awesome ladies of Tackle Trading. Meet some great people, some great traders, hopefully learn a little bit, and hopefully have a few laughs as well. So that's kind of the schedule, kind of an overly simplified way to think about it. And it is overly simplified because there's always going to be some gray area and some bleed over, right? But the morning lounge is really about what our team needs today. What do you need, right? What are your questions? What are your concerns? What do you want to look at? It's really about you. Then the halftime report is really about that daily routine, right? Staying on top of things, working through the market one step at a time. And then the evening shows is where we can take that deeper dive, put on that teacher's hat a little bit, if you will, and go in deeper on these different subjects, whether it's option strategies, management, indicators. I mean, like I said, there's many things that it can be, and all of these things can have really detailed discussions. And the evening shows really allow us to have those discussions. And so kind of maybe an overly simplified way to keep it organized, but hopefully that can help you. And again, if you're ever looking for looking for the links or feeling a little overwhelmed, the events calendar can help you. Okay, this is what's going on today. Here's, when it is, there's the link for it, so I can get into it. We'll also, in our Tackle Today email, each day let you know what the lineup is, so you can kind of know what's going on today at Tackle Trading. If you would like the Tackle Today email and don't have it, you can just click on Tackle Today, sign up for the email right here. We will also post it in here. It will be delivered faster to the inbox, but if for whatever reason you prefer it here directly on Tackle Trading, you can catch it in here as well. Just a quick little, start to the day, as well as a look ahead to the lineup here at Tackle Trading. So that's going to kind of wind down that schedule, the things that you can do with others. And as I said at the beginning, I mean, a big part of this is realizing that we're not alone. Trading in a lot of ways is a lonely game because we're usually by ourselves in our office, looking at our charts, looking at our, risk graphs, that type of stuff. And, odds are your next door neighbor isn't super excited to talk about the breakout in energy with you, or how crude's been running, right? We might be complaining about crude at the pump, but, crude's been on a great bullish run, right? Traders can appreciate that, right? Sometimes, it's nice to just be able to talk trading with traders so I don't have to annoy the other people in my life who don't really want to talk about it with me. So, lastly, is going to be our reports. At the end of the week on Fridays, what we're doing as coaches, we're getting together in what we call our scouting report meeting, where we're talking markets, sectors, commodities, industries, setups, all of that fun stuff. And out of that meeting comes our weekend reports that we deliver to our pro members on Saturday afternoon. That's going to be our newsletter, stock option, commodity report. Our tackle newsletter, you can kind of stick with that, first step in the 7-step guide, that theme, right? Where do we begin? We begin at the top of the market, right? We take that top down approach. And that's exactly what we're doing each week in the newsletter. Coach Gino does such an awesome job getting the team prepped for the upcoming week. We can kind of let you know about the week that was. Hey, what was the storylines moving the market this week? What was happening? How did it impact the charts? Any particular things standing out? What does the next week in earnings look like if we're in the middle of earnings season right now? What's going on from an economic calendar perspective? Is there anything coming out that we want to take a closer look at? Of course, we'll have a detailed video going through all of this stuff with you to make sure you're on top of things. Where is the overall market? The S&P, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the Russell. You'll find the ETFs that track those, or at least the major ETFs that track those. DIA for Dow Jones, QQQ for the NASDAQ, IWM for the RUT, and SPY for the S&P 500. Take a look at the internals of the market. This is going to look at over 8,000 stocks, so we can kind of see, how many are putting in new highs, how many are putting in new lows, right? How many are advancing, how many are declining, so we can get a much better idea of the internals of the market. One of the nuances, I guess, of the indexes is they're weighted, right? And so some of these companies these days are so enormous. I mean, Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla. I mean, some of these stocks are just so weighted in anything that they're in. And that's fine. It is what it is, right? But sometimes they can, maybe give us a little different look if we kind of look under the hood and see, take a closer look at the overall market. So we're going to do that in here. Each week, we're going to rank the sectors based off of what we're seeing on the companies that build up these sector ETFs. And so, little segue here, we're going to be using the Sector Spider ETFs. You're going to kind of see them in our rankings. If you're not familiar with the Sector Spider ETFs, I think there's something to get to know. Personally, what they're going to do is they're going to go into the S&P. So XLE, for example, it's going to go into the S&P 500 and pull out just the stocks that are in the energy sector. Remember, it's coming out of the S&P, so it's going to be weighted. It's going to weight them accordingly and put them into a portfolio so you can get an isolated look at the energy sector versus, say, the utility sector. Those two charts look a little different from one another, right? Look a little bit different than the communications chart. And so each week, so these are really helpful. They are ETFs. They are tradable through both shares and options. If you want more information on the ETFs, how they're built, all of that fun stuff, I would suggest go straight to the source, the ETF provider's webpage. That's just at sectorspdr.com. That is the ETF provider's website where you can take a closer look at any of those things. We're going to be doing our ratings not based specifically on XLE, but on the companies that build XLE. So we're going through all of these each week as we're making our rankings in the market. We're going to be moving things up, down, keeping them the same based off of what we're seeing on the components within these spaces. We're going to have our growth sectors, that's going to be technology, discretionary, and communication, represented in blue. So these are the growth sectors of the market. The cyclical side of the market, that's going to be the financials, the industrials, the energy, and the basic material sectors. They're going to be here in this yellow or gold color. that you're looking at. And then the defensive sectors, healthcare, staples, real estate, and utility will be represented here in this plummy purple type of color. Each week, we're going to move them up or down. As you can kind of see, we're going to put it on a football field here. So kind of between the 40s is going to be overall neutral, maybe with a very slight lean one way or the other to the bullish or the bearish side. Between the 40 and the 20 is going to be bullish or bearish, or slightly bullish or bearish. Between the 20 and the goal line, we're really seeing a lot of strength or weakness. It's going to be very unlikely and super rare, if at all, that you're going to see us put an entire sector or market into the end zone. That's just more aggressive than we are. That's certainly more aggressive than I am. And quite honestly, to be that aggressive on an entire market or an entire space, everything has to be just tremendously strong or tremendously weak. Even one outlier, and there's always an outlier, right, is going to throw some cold water on that. So it's, much more likely we're going to be, kind of working between that 40 into that 15 range. And that's not to say we're not going to go, beyond that. Of course, you never say, never, but certainly not going to be aggressive in our rankings. We'll be talking about these rankings a lot in the different things that we're doing here each week at Tackle Trading. And again, here's the Sector Spider ETFs. If you need those symbols just to get added into your watch list, they are a great addition to a daily routine. Even if you never want to trade them, if you have no intention of ever trading them, they can really help. Energy's been super strong for a while now, right? This helped maybe identify that, right? So we could take advantage of that. And hey, maybe I didn't want anything to do with XLE, but I went in and looked at my favorite energy stocks and hopefully was able to take advantage of it. At the end of our coaching meeting, we're all the coaches are going to do a quick, where basically we do what we call rapid fire, where each of us coaches will let the team know what our favorite bullish trade setup and our favorite bearish trade setup from our stock and options report were. Just a fun way to end the meeting, bouncing it around, goof off a little bit, share some ideas a little bit. Really been a fun addition. We've been doing it for a little while now, and it's been a lot of fun and pretty well received, I think. So that's the rapid fire. As I mentioned earlier, we're really active over on our Team Tackle Discord channel. It's available to all of our pro members. You can get the link right here in the newsletter. It's a great place just to be able to talk trading with traders. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's kind of like Slack in the sense that, I type a message and somebody who's on right now sees it and can type right back to me. And if they're not, they can get back to me later when they are on and they see that message. Typically Coach Matt and, some of us coaches will get together live with the team in the chat or in the, audio, like Zoom style, that's also available over on Discord during the Trade Masters webinar, and just kind of watch the Trade Masters webinar with members of our team over there as well. A lot of fun. I've met some, got to know, I know a lot of the members of our team, but I've really gotten to know a lot of our team members a lot better since we incorporated Discord, because an easier way to communicate. It's a great little tool. And I certainly invite you, if you're a pro member, come on over, join us. It's not too scary. If you've never used it before, it's a new platform, but it's fairly easy to at least get up and running on it. I know if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm notoriously slow on new technology. You'll find just a little friendly reminder to make sure you're matching the strategy to your read of the situation, right? Again, on a Monday night, none of us would make that. We're not going to, put together some super conservative strategy on something we're super aggressive on, right? But tomorrow, when the market's open, who knows what we'll do, right? So friendly reminder is never a bad thing. You're going to find a pre-built scanner. So if any particular area has caught your attention, if you said, I like the strength I'm seeing in energy, how can I easily look at a bunch of energy stocks? Well, this is certainly one way to do it. This will bring you to a pre-built Finviz scanner. All I'm going to need to do is click off the ad and then hit the charts button here. This is going to bring me up a list of what I refer to as trader-friendly stocks. And what I mean when I say that is they have great liquidity. They're very easy to trade shares on. They are borrowable, so I can go short. They're all optionable. Now, just because a stock has options doesn't mean those options are super liquid and I would feel comfortable trading them. It's always a good idea and a good practice to make sure before you're prepping an option trade, Well, to do it, you've got to go look at the liquidity. You got to look at the bid ask spread anyway, right? To build an option trade, if it's not there, it's not there, right? And if you've ever been stuck in an illiquid option, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not fun. So, but whether it's through options or equity, I would say as a collective unit that these are pretty option friendly. There certainly, though, are names that come up in all of the different sector scans that I personally at least wouldn't feel comfortable trading options on, but that's fine. I can trade the equity, right? That's not going to be a big deal. But whether it's through options or just trading the stock outright, if I find something in here I want to trade, I'm going to be able to find a way to trade it. And that's really what I mean when I say trader friendly stocks. As you can kind of see, just going to give us, a bunch of kind of bird's eye view charts so we can kind of see, what are things looking like? What's maybe standing out to you or to me, and to help us generate some ideas, right? Whether it's Halliburton just coming out of this little flag up here at the top, or MPC breaking out of a post earning, had a gap up. I can cheat a little bit because I know that was an earnings gap, but it was also probably be an educated guess seeing a gap like that. Maybe you like those ones, maybe you don't. Maybe I don't find anything in here that's in a good position to set up a new trade on, but just a very fast and easy way to be able to process a lot of stock charts really, really quick. Obviously, I would never try to build a trade off of these little tiny charts, but I can say, I kind of like the way Hal's looking, kind of like what I'm seeing over here on MRO or TRGP. I can now go into my actual charting platform, take a look at those charts, see if there's something there that I can build. It's really a helpful way to be able to quickly go through a lot in a very short period of time to generate some ideas in areas that for one reason or another have caught yours or my attention. So we'll have that for each of the different sectors in here as well. Just a quick world watch, where's the all world ETF, the global markets emerging ETF, as well as the US dollar index. And then a final note going into the upcoming week. So that is the newsletter, and that's really where we all kind of start, here at Tackle Trading. Again, it's the first step in the 7-step guide to trading, and the first thing that we start with for a reason, right? That's the newsletter. Coach Mark does our commodity report for us each week. He highlights, what's going on in the world of commodities in gold, silver, crude oil, Bitcoin, copper, all of that fun stuff, to let folks know kind of what's going on in the world of commodities, what's going on technically, what's going on fundamentally, what's going on thematically in those different areas. He's also, because not everybody wants to trade commodities over on the futures exchanges, right? They don't want to go trade gold contracts. So he's always doing a great job of sharing ideas of proxies or ways that, well, even if I don't want to play in the futures market, but I want to play copper, FCX can act as a potential proxy for me if I'm looking to cash flow it or directionally play it. He does a great job of sharing actionable ideas with the team based off of what's going on in the world of commodities each week and keeping us up to date. Our stock and option report are going to be built similar to one another, in the sense that each week we want to make sure that members of our team have a good quality watch list going into the upcoming week, based technically, generally, unless kind of specifically stated otherwise. From a swing trading perspective, we want to make sure that we have some good quality bullish trade setups, some good quality bearish setups going into the week, whether we're trading in the trading stock or options. And that's going to be true in how we're building both the stock and options report. Now, things in the stock report, they might just not have liquid options, right? That might be why they're in the stock report. They might be really very inexpensive, and it just might make more sense to play the stock side of things, right? There might be reasons that we prefer them to an option play, but it might also just be that the options aren't there or they're not liquid. And well, again, we won't trade if we're not going to trade illiquid options, right? And so, whereas things in the option report, every one of the candidates in that report, at least all of the coaches here at Tackle Trading, would feel comfortable trading options on those products. Again, it's always a good idea to check and make sure you are, but we as a collective team, if any one of us says I wouldn't trade options on something, then it won't go in the option report. We'll either kill it or it'll go into the stock report for the week. So they're going to be technically based from a swing trading perspective. Now, the conversation is going to be a little different, right? In the stock report, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about processes and and the technicals and stop losses and potential entry signals and all of that fun stuff. Not to say that that's not important in the options, because of course it's just as important in the options, but in the option report, we're going to be talking a little bit more about strategy selection, right? This might be, because of the pricing on these options, it might make sense to be a seller here. Or, wow, these calls are cheap. Maybe it's a good opportunity to be a buyer. Maybe this would be a good opportunity to do a poor boy covered call versus a, bull put spread, or whatever the case might be. So the conversations will definitely be a little bit different. Of course, we'll have a video talking you through all of this stuff as well. We'll also use it as a little opportunity to do a little bit of teaching, right? For example, Coach Greg talked about what we call here at Tactical Trading the bear stop out, and gave our team a better idea of what that looks like. So we'll take the opportunity to do a little bit of teaching in here as well. The trading view charts that are kind of built into this are pretty handy little charts. I always like to show people just a couple of quick things that they can do with these. I'm going to use GGB here as an example. I'm going to just smack this widget button, and that's just going to hide the watch list, so I have more chart to work with. If I want to bring it back, I'll just smack it again, and the list is back. If you go into the body of the chart, you can scroll up on your mouse, scroll down on your mouse to kind of zoom in, zoom out as you need to. If you hold your left mouse button down in the body of the chart, you can go back and forth and up and down, so you can kind of get that sized up the way that we would like. You can do the same thing over in the dollars, so I can scrunch it down or I can zoom it up, basically to get it sized to where it looks right. We all have an idea of what that means, right? It doesn't mean the same thing to everybody, but whenever you're looking at a chart, you want it to be sized right? So it's, of course, as you can clearly see, defaulted to the candlesticks, but if for whatever reason you prefer bar charts, you can change that. I still know a few people who do use bar charts. Most of us, myself included, use the candlestick charts. If you want to add an indicator or two, that button will be right up here. Do note that it's not going to save. So before you get too crazy and add a bunch of indicators, just know that if you leave, they're not coming back with you. So they will not save. If you don't, usually you don't need the indicator to be as big as it is right here. At least I don't. So just hover your mouse over the barrier between volume and the indicator and hold the left mouse button down. You can zip it up, you can scrunch it down, whatever you need to do to get it sized the correct way. These are swing trading candidates, so we're going to be defaulted to the daily chart, but this little drop down here, if we wanted to maybe go intraday for a potential entry or stop loss, if we wanted to maybe go weekly to get a longer term view of the stock, or monthly, or 15 minutes, there is some customization that you can do from a time frame perspective. Your trend line tool is going to be right up in here, where you can draw either a trend line or a horizontal support or resistance line, which I'd argue is probably more applicable in my eyes, at least right now on these guys here. But easy to draw your trend lines. If I don't need them, I can just left click them and hit that trash button, and that'll get rid of them for me, so I can clean that thing up a little bit. Then lastly, this guy right here is where you can prep long or short trades. So since this is a little bullish breakout here, that'd of course be a long trade, and I'm not going to get super specific, but I'll just say I'm looking to come in above today's high at 560. That's going to let me know what a one-to-one trade would look like, risking $1 to get $1. But that's not really what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, what? I would like a stop loss below that Friday low. And I have a target in mind of a first target up here at 610 based off of this old resistance level right back here. And maybe you say, no, that would be my second target, and that's okay, right? Because it's my trade, it's your trade, but it's going to let me know what the risk to reward looks like, right? For every dollar I'm risking, I have $1.77 in profit. Now, if that's my first target, and I'm thinking, well, my secondary target could be up in the 640 range, then okay, I'm good to go. But if this was my first target, I can see, well, I'm like many traders, or if this is my my primary target, like many traders, I have the 2-to-1 rule, right? If I'm risking $1, I need potential $2 return to make the trade. Well, this is just not it. So my options are, oh well, right, there will be other times, or maybe I want to change my stop loss. Well, what if I went below today's low instead of that Friday low? Would I prefer Fridays? Yes, I would. Just being me, right? That doesn't mean you would agree, but if this is still something within my rules, I can say, okay, well, now I'm at a 2.45 to 1 risk to reward ratio. This could work. This could make sense. I can now set the trade. So it's just a very visual. It's going to save you time on the math, right? Let you know what your risk to reward is, help visualize the trade, right? This, if I look at this doesn't seem that far away, but you might look at it and say, well, that's just pretty darn aggressive. I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to go too far past that, right? And again, that's going to be, dependent on you and how you like to trade, but it is a really helpful little tool. You can do it for both the bull side and the bear side. And again, you'll find it right here in this guy right here, long or short position. There's a lot of other things you can do on these trading view charts, but those are some of the big ones that I find really helpful. And I always like to take a few minutes to share those because I would imagine at least the first time you go through the stock report, the first time you go through the option report, you've seen these charts embedded in a variety of places here at Tackle Trading. At least the first time you go through the report, you're probably going to be going through on this list. So it's helpful to be able to have a better handle on this. At least I think so. Again, we want to make sure whether you're trading stock, options, commodities, all of the above, that every member of our team has a good quality watch list. There's never a bad way to find a trade idea, right? If you don't like GGB, I don't take it personal. You don't have to explain to me why you don't. If you say, I don't want to put that in my watch list, then fine. It's not about what you don't want in your watch list. It's about what you do want to add to your watch list, right? You can trade all of them. You can trade none of them. Most likely you'll be like the rest of us. And if you like the setup and it's a place that, you're looking to add some trades, you'll add it to the watch list, right? And if not, you'll wish it the best and move along onto other things that you want to work with. Again, we'll make sure that we get all of these delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to go through any or all of them before the market opens back up. So that is going to be our report. As we get wrapping up here this evening, we are active on all of the more traditional social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. That's how much I use it. Instagram. So if you're using those platforms, certainly invite you to come on over and join us. Just another way to stay up to date what's going on at Tackle Trading and interact with different members of the team. Over on our YouTube channel, I think in a large part these days, we're probably mostly known for the live streams that we're doing because we do a lot of them with our daily halftime report or Trade Masters webinar, a lot of special webinars that we do on Monday nights. But we do have a lot of other content on our YouTube channel as well. A lot of how-tos, walkthroughs, think or swim tutorials. We're always thinking of new things that we can add. So certainly would appreciate being on YouTube. If you would give us a subscribe and hit the notification, it certainly helps us within the YouTube algorithm, and hopefully it helps you be alerted anytime we're going live or anytime we've added a new video. I'm not a very good shill for the YouTube, but it is helpful. It really is to have the subscribers. And so if you would, it would be helpful. If not, that's okay as well. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of things that we do here at Tackle Trading. And I always encourage people, don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. If you are a brand new trader, you're probably going to use it a little bit differently than I am. And that's okay. That's not saying anything bad about you, right? But, if you're primarily a cash flow trader that have been doing this for 5 years, you are probably going to naturally gravitate towards things like the cash flow club, the options report, right? Maybe the commodity report to do some cash flowing over there. If you're primarily a directional trader that doesn't like options, right? You might gravitate to a little different area. It's okay. We welcome you, invite you to join us in all that we're doing. And you're more than welcome to do. And believe me, we have folks that are in literally everything that we're doing. I never don't see them, but it's also perfectly fine to, hey, this is what I like to do. This is what I'm focused on. Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. If you get lost, if you get hung up, there's a lot of ways to reach out, whether it's in the lounge, whether it's in the Discord, whether it's sending us an email to team@tackletrading.com, asking in our coaches show. There's a lot of ways to reach out. If you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. We're happy to help. There's no shame in asking for help. We all need it sometimes. Ask for it, right? We've got a tremendously helpful community here, not just the coaches, but each and every one of our team members are tremendously helpful. We all are on the same team. We all want to see each other succeed in the markets, right? I can't make your trades for you, and I wouldn't want to be quite honest with you, but I can help you in any way possible, right? If you have a question that I can answer, I'm happy to do so. Never a big deal. If I don't know the answer, maybe I know somebody who does, right? Or maybe as you're asking the question to me, somebody who knows that answer can easily get it for you. So lean on your team, right? Everybody's got each other's back here. Everybody wants to see each other succeed. It's a big part of our community. That's why I love being part of this particular community. I love being around like-minded traders that want to talk trading, that have my back, that will share ideas with me, will argue back if they don't like what I'm seeing, in a nice way, of course. But certainly it's made me a better trader. I think it makes everybody a better trader. As I let you get out of here this evening, if you're a new pro member, I certainly welcome you to the team, and I'm happy to have you here. I look very much forward to getting to know you over time. If you're not a pro member, appreciate you checking out as well. Maybe I'm just seeing you over on the YouTube channel and stuff. Certainly happy to have you with us as well. We do have a standing offer of a free 15-day trial. It's in the link in the description of all of our YouTube videos. You can also find it over in the store tab. If you'd like to come in, see what it's looking like on the back end, see if it's a good fit for you without having to make a commitment, be more than happy to get you set up on that free trial as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this evening, but I thank you for your time. I welcome you to Tackle Trading. I look forward to seeing you around the different shows, the Discord. Never be a stranger. If you need anything, you can always reach out to me. That goes, I'm pretty sure, without saying, to the rest of the team as well. But get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Stay safe out in the market, and welcome to Tackle Trading. Good night.